and welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tapping in. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe with like videos like this.
There's a phenomenon where people blow out the ice smoke into the air in front of a light and they start snapping pictures. I'm talking some of the most bone-chilling, evil, revelatory images that I've ever seen. Dragons coming out at you, demonic faces, and it's a phenomenon. It's the demons in the smoke, and people all over the world have seen it. It's like there's something there. And these aren't AI. These are people who've kept these photos in their phones for years. You can tell that they're real. What is that? Is that our brain wanting to see something? Or then when we show the picture, everybody sees the same thing? It's because it's real.
But when they say they're in this fog, and I just been driving regularly, what is this right here? There's something in the fog that I can't explain, but I ain't drove to nothing but fog. And look at this. Check y'all out. Crazy. Look, it's on that, but not on my windshield. What's going on? Ooh. They got asbestos in the air. That's crazy.
What the? What the? What the? No balls. I hate you. All right, fine. We're gonna do yes. Good. If you're ready, take a piece of paper and pen. Now write your name backwards in the blank space at the top of the paper. This paper will belong entirely to you, and everything you write on it will be a step in the ritual. Bruh. There we go. That goes like that. Then the moon goes right here. Then the cross. Cross, I believe. I'm not doing that.
Tyler, shut the fuck up, bro. Golly.
Bro. Ah! What the this with me? That freaked me the out. That freaked me the out. Freaks me out so much. This is
Be careful. Using a computer is no different than using a Ouija board.
If I told you Epstein never died, his Moloch God protected him.
Why would they kill him now? He went to jail for the same crimes the whole night.
I told you, Larry. How could you fucking? I was locked up there 100 times. There's no way you could
It's
get.
really double jeopardy. He had amassed a lot of information on people.
Was he a Mossad?
He was definitely groomed by Mossad for sure.
Right.
And then at the same time, this guy was having some of the most brilliant minds on the planet
Yeah.
on his island for research purposes, big science conferences.
Right.
But the only thing that connects all of these people together is who they consider God. That's why he have a temple dedicated to Moloch on his island.
What's
the god of child sacrifice.
Oh, right. Moloch. Yeah, okay.
Now we talking.
Yeah,
they
go
all
down
work.
that way with him.
Yeah, let's go down.
Pull up the video of Lady Gaga swearing to.
I'll learn we're on a fucking world stage. Nothing is gonna be surprising to you. They got literally a card game, Illuminati card game with all these damn pre-planned events on it. Like, it's just real simple shit you can look at and be like, oh yeah, this is a simulation.
Epstein was technically not a perv, he was a mad scientist. Epstein already knew that the global population is heading down and 45% of women will be single and childless by 2030. Epstein Island was a distraction from Zorro Ranch. Zorro Ranch is in New Mexico and he chose it for a reason. Zorro Ranch is a deep, underground military base. It's right down the street from Trementina Base, a bunker and vault complex owned by the Church of Spiritual Technology, an elite order within the Church of Scientology. Scientology's Secret Vault, a rare interview with a former member of the Church of Spiritual Technology. Epstein wanted to turn his New Mexico ranch into a baby-making factory. It's actually a eugenics project. Epstein reportedly hoped to develop a super race of humans with his DNA. He wanted to do this as a part of his fascination with transhumanism. He wanted to go as far as freezing his brain to spread his DNA. Epstein wasn't dealing with politicians, he was really dealing with scientists that MIT, Harvard, and elsewhere face continued fallout over Epstein connections. Private jets, parties, and eugenics? Jeffrey Epstein's bizarre world of science. So what kind of research did Epstein like to fund? He told scientists before he faked his unaliving, the felon liked rebels. They keep saying celebrities, but they didn't tell you he likes to pal around with scientists. What do you think now? I'm your brother Crumb, and you're now watching Crumb TV.
Después en el mar que se ve ahí, yo no sé lo que es eso, apareciente de cosas abajo del mar ahí, que se ven como que si fueran luz. Mira, vamos a ir acercando. ¿Se están viendo? Mira, mira ya cómo se ve.
That's officially off my list.
I just heard of a study where prisoners can get out of jail if they give their memories to the doctors to give to other people. And I'm like, I'm never doing that.
No way.
Yes, I heard that. What we call cloning is actually a siphoning of consciousness into another physical being that replicates the one before it. So that's what they do with celebrities, and they steal a consciousness. Saddam Hussein, he had 5 decoys that looked just like him, so you didn't really know what he looked like.
Wow. There are people who remember entire towns that don't appear on any map, not old ones, not digital ones, not even historical records. There's a disturbing phenomenon called the memory gaps in maps, and if it's true, then there are entire places on Earth that were erased without anyone noticing. It usually starts the same way. Someone tries driving to a town they swear they've been to before. They remember the streets, the buildings, even the smell of the place, but when they search it online, nothing. No photos, no history, no map data. It's like the town never existed. One man in North Carolina said he grew up visiting a tiny mountain town called Rose Hollow. He remembers the diner on the corner, he remembers the rusty water tower, he even remembers getting lost near the old church with the red door. But here's the problem, there's never been a town called Rose Hollow in that entire region. Old maps, nothing. County records, nothing. Locals, they say the area he described is just forest and has always been a forest. And here's where it gets eerie. Everyone who reports this phenomenon remembers the same features: a water tower, a single diner, a church, one main street, and a small population. It's like they all visit the same forgotten place. Some people think these towns weren't erased. They were never meant to exist in this timeline, and our memories come from a version of reality where they did exist. Others think these towns exist in the in-between, slipping in and out of our world like bad rendering. But the darkest theory, these places are still out there, just not accessible by normal roads anymore. People say if you drive long enough, far enough, and ignore your GPS, you'll eventually reach a place the maps forgot. Stay weird.
Looks like taxidermy.
Everyone has heard of the snake-headed Medusa from ancient Greek mythology, but I bet you never heard of Cecrops, the first king of Athens. And guess what? He wasn't just human, but also half reptilian, and his ancient serpent bloodline might exist today, for entertainment purposes only. According to Pythagorean and Hermetic traditions, Cecrops is a remnant of a pre-Hellenic serpent race, and he came to Athens from inner Earth, a half-man, half-serpent being who taught the the earliest Athenians' writing, marriage law, and civilization. Sound familiar? In the occult traditions, Cecropians were survivors of a lost civilization, pre-Greek Pelasgians, or even Proto-Atlanteans. And the Greeks took him so seriously enough to build a shrine over his home, the Erechtheion, on the Acropolis. Archaeology actually confirms a massive living serpent was kept inside that temple, fed by priestesses believed to be the spirit or descendant of Cecrops himself. If the serpent refused food, Athens feared disaster. This wasn't just mythology, this was state religion. Cecrops' line continued through Pandion, Erechtheus, Cecrops II, and the royal houses of Attica, eventually producing Aegeus and the famous hero of Athens who defeated the Minotaur, you guessed it, Theseus, and ending with King Codrus, the last sovereign of Athens. After Codrus died, kingship was abolished, but the bloodline didn't end. His descendants, the Medontid dynasty, ruled as hereditary archons, and legendary genealogies trace one of their later heirs to a real historical figure, Solon, the great lawgiver of Athens, meaning one of the most influential figures in Western civilization was believed to be a living descendant of a reptilian king. This is astonishing when you realize Solon later traveled to Egypt and recorded the Atlantis story, which highlights ancient hybrid rulers among a forgotten civilization. And the serpent legacy wasn't just in myth. Across Greece, Turkey, and southern Italy, lands once ruled or colonized by Athenians, archaeologists kept finding serpent artifacts, Minoan snake goddess figurines, serpent daemons on temple reliefs, Ouroboros symbols, and Ionian serpent seals. These weren't decorations, they were ancestral markers, symbols of an older pre-human race tied to kingship and chthonic power. So the real question isn't whether the Greeks believed in reptilian ancestry, it's this. If Cecrops was the first king of Athens and his bloodline stretched all the way to Solon, who might still carry it today?
And away we go. So remember about a week and a half ago, I made a video about this tweet, Candace saying there's a 9/11 style attack happening the second week of December. Well, it happened because not one, but two mass shootings happened within 24 hours of each other, starting with this one at Brown University where 2 are dead and 8 are in critical condition. Then we have this one that happened at Bondi Beach, Australia, where 12 are unalive, including one of the shooters, making this Australia's deadliest shooting in 3 decades. Now, make no mistake about it, just like 9/11 being a false flag psyop, these are false flag psyops. Which means the events are real, the victims are real, but who and what behind it is much more nefarious than you think with somebody pulling the strings. I mean, can anybody tell me why not one, but 2 survivors from the Brown University shooting were also survivors in 2 separate shootings, one in California and one in Florida? Now, I know school shootings in America are pretty frequent, which is a stat not to be proud of, but what are the chances? Then there's this, where Brett Smiley, the mayor of Rhode Island where Brown took place, his name shows up in the Google Trend searches 24 hours before the shooting in Israel. Not to mention, one of the shooters in Bondi, Naveed Akram, we know everything about him within minutes, but nothing about the Brown University shooter, as they're still trying to figure that out. And his name also shows up in Google Trends 24 hours before in Tel Aviv, China, and Cyprus. What? Even this witness at Bondi Beach said he saw the shooters, then 4 policemen approach, but didn't shoot back.
This time, and 4 policemen there didn't give fire back. I don't understand why.
But it gets even weirder because there's another survivor who survived a previous attack in the October 7th attacks in Israel, who had time to take a selfie during the Bondi massacre. Got it. Now his name is Arshin Travinsky. Now please note, this happened on the first day of Hanukkah. Yeah, the same date, December 14th, that Sandy Hook took place. You can't make this shit up. And last but not least, shout out to this guy, Armin L. Armin, a 43-year-old fruit shop owner who stopped one of the gunmen at Bondi Beach. He's breaking the narrative, being that he's a Muslim, stopping other Muslims from this attack. So, true on that, mainstream media. Now, there's a whole lot more, and I'm going to break all this down on my YouTube, The Maverick Approach, so make sure you guys hit that up. But let me know what you guys think about all this down below.
A McDonald's employee in Tennessee was fired after customers reported that a male worker was putting his hand inside his underwear and scratching himself while working. The incident happened at a McDonald's restaurant in Tennessee. Several customers said they saw a male employee repeatedly place his hand inside his underwear and scratch himself while preparing food. Witnesses said he continued the behavior even after noticing people watching him. Customers said they felt sick and immediately filed a complaint with the restaurant. Management reviewed the report and spoke with the employee. The worker was removed from his shift and later terminated for violating basic hygiene rules.
Is that why their fries are so salty?
Where does the practice of gender inversion come from? Its roots trace back to the goddess Cybele, who was worshipped by the Templars through the idol Baphomet. Cybele was regarded as the consort of Lucifer and identified with Isis. Her priesthood, known as the Gali, gained initiation by entering a trance of possession during their festivals and themselves in a frenzied ritual known as the Day of the Blood, held around the spring equinox, March 24th. Afterwards, these priests lived and dressed as women. The cult of Cybele often worked in tandem with the cult of Mithras, associated by many with Lucifer, Osiris, or Nimrod, performing bull sacrifices. Both of these cults are extremely against traditional gender roles. The figure of Baphomet, equated by Hammer Purgstall with Cybele, is sometimes depicted as a castrated hermaphrodite. Occultist Eliphas Levi also portrayed Baphomet with a caduceus rising from his groin instead of male genitalia, a symbol some researchers interpret as representing spiritual androgyny through castration, aligning with Cybele's mythos. Hammer Purgstall also asserted that the Templars practiced a form of Ophite Gnosticism, a belief system that, according to Church Father Hippolytus, secretly worshipped Cybele, the Great Mother, and incorporated her rites into their doctrines. While many believe the extremely powerful and wealthy Baphomet-worshipping Templars, the original founders of modern banking, vanished into thin air after their suppression, numerous researchers maintain that they simply went underground, continuing their lineage through secret societies that eventually resurfaced as the Jesuit order. Albert Pike himself hinted at this when he stated, quote, "The Templars were unintelligent and therefore unsuccessful Jesuits."
They say that there are like little people living in the jungle.
Yeah, like a dwarf.
Like dwarfs. Yeah. Is that here too?
Yeah. These are the ones.
That's them?
Dwarfs.
Have you seen them before?
Yep.
You've seen them?
They're the representative of the dwarfs.
They look like people or what?
They look like people.
What do they do?
They kill people. We don't see them very often. But
Little-
you go to the jungle and if it is very quiet, then you can see them running around.
Whatever, you've seen them too? Everyone sees them?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Don't go and see the second Doctor Strange movie, but I'm going to tell you how this movie was completely littered in black magic. When you buy the ticket, so you're given consent. I just exchanged money to witness and experience this movie. So they have a character in there that's a woman, a witch. She's very upset, and they literally use her character to litter the entire movie with sigils. Sigils are a symbol of mind control. Aleister Crowley was somebody who's very well known for the creation of sigils. You can create sigils as a symbol that really helps consciousness. They're basically seated symbols. So when it comes to black magic, and specifically with the Doctor Strange movie, we have these sigils that are stamping the intention of the viewer with what the creators of this decided to do.
Hey fam, this is not AI, it's just LA.
Why is nobody talking about what the sphere looked like on the outside? On the inside, quite demonic. It's like you're trapped in hell. Every single one of these chains is built by a singular demon, which means everybody in this crowd is surrounded by millions of demons. I wonder how many legions are here. They are putting the truth right in front of your eyes and people aren't even paying attention. This is what people were walking into. This looks like the firmament shattering. Where's Hillary Clinton when you need her?
We put a lot of cracks in the highest, hardest glass ceiling.
I could only imagine what we'd be letting in if she was speaking literally. Anyways, what happens next I find quite interesting. The firmament breaks, it shatters, the doors of hell open, and what enters in? The fallen angels. We see a lot of the symbolism happening with hip-hop, R&B, rap, metal, rock, but not much country, but Maybe that's what we get for integrating them into country, if you get what I'm saying. This concert at the Sphere had tons of demonic symbolism in it, and in fact, there were times where I literally felt like I was in an episode of Stranger Things. This part specifically being the main one. If you can find this video of the Sphere online, you guys go watch it and come back to my comment section and you tell me what you think that it's symbolizing. Stay tuned for part 2.
I'm going to show you witchcraft done in actual action on a Christian right now. And I hope that Bryce doesn't mind me using this video. But I'm going to show you what this witch is doing to Bryce and break down exactly what her plan is here and how she's doing it. Bear in mind, he is covered in the blood of Jesus. None of this would have touched him. But if you are not covered in the blood of Jesus, these are the impacts this would have had on you. So first I'm going to show you the video quickly and then I'm going to break it down.
Austin felt killed, like I said earlier, but he loves me.
Because we need to be attentive to. I like.
Good to see you again.
I love this man. The first thing you can see here is she puts a tissue into Bryce's hood. There is an ill health spell where you cough and you basically mumble the words into the tissue, scrumple it up, and then you put it into the person's pocket, into their coat, into their hood like she just did. And we see what looks like her taking a piece of hair and then trying to string it onto Bryce. Now she may have plucked that hair from him. I doubt that was her own hair. Or maybe she saw it on his jumper and then you can actually speak curses onto somebody's hair and put it back onto them. Again, this would have been a form of ill health, bad luck. If you watch the video carefully, you can see the intent through her eyes, and she does mumble slightly as well, so she is actually doing witchcraft as she's doing. After this, you would have seen her do this near to Bryce. This is called darting, and this is where you speak witchcraft into your hands and you dart the person with it. Either you can do it like this or you do it like this. I'm not going to tell you the actual spells or anything like that. So far, that's 3 attempts, so she's really engaging on trying to hex Bryce here. Now, this is where I started to question if she actually has a little thing for Bryce here, because she actually throws a bit of a drink down by his feet. I'm not going to say the actual spell, but that is a form of a love spell to mix your own bodily fluid into their part. Then shortly after that, she puts her arm around him and says, "Oh, I love you, I love you." This is called engagement, so actually she needs to physically touch him for some form of spell here, and also she may actually be trying to perform some sort of ritual, mind control, or a love spell in itself. I'm not entirely sure of her intentions here. It's kind of confusing. You see quite a few hexes and then you see an attempt of love. Also, throughout the whole thing, she's trying to distract him, obviously, from speaking the word of God to people on the street. So yeah, to me, this looks like brujeria. There's a little bit of Santeria going on in there and a hint of attempting voodoo. You don't need to concern yourself with what these spells are or what it is exactly she's doing. What you need to understand is people do these things. So you don't usually see this kind of witchcraft in the West. You see it way more in the East, to be honest. Above all of that, Bryce is covered by the blood of Jesus. He won't be touched. And if you notice that Bryce is completely unfazed by what she's doing, and bless him, even when she's saying I love you, he turns around and says I love you too. So she is lost. Evidently she's lost. And there is a spirit in her that hates the word of God, and that's why she's doing the hexing. But then you kind of start to see her soften a little bit, and then the love spells come in. Maybe actually she is seeking Jesus, but that spirit of witchcraft it doesn't like. I've done this video for information purposes, just a little bit of a deeper idea of what exactly went on there. None of that would have affected him, but had that been done on you and you're not covered in the blood of Jesus, you can probably expect ill health, crazed mind, thoughts that aren't yours. It is so important that if you are up against witchcraft of any kind, you plead that blood of Jesus over you. It is the only thing that stops it and breaks it. I plead the blood of Jesus over you now, because not all witchcraft has to be done in person, by the way. You can do it online very easily. And all of this information just came from an ex-witch of 15 years, so I do have some idea of what I'm talking about.
Pause. Fool. Look, after editing this madness, my brain is fried. I use this channel to reset. It's pure red pill with mesmerizing visuals and soothing sounds. Go sub to 3 Eye Sensory right now. Link is in the pinned comment. And don't say I never looked out for you, fool. Now, back to the creepy.
Some original photos of Ronald McDonald, and some of them can be very creepy looking, especially the early Ronald McDonald. This painting right here is actually a real painting that was located right next to one of the headquarters in the UK, if I'm not mistaken. Wait, hold on. Let me pull up the article so I make sure I got the facts right. So yeah, this said, McDonald's fans creeped out as demonic painting discovered near chain headquarters. It was dubbed Pennywise's cousin has been found less than 500 meters away from the fast food chain's London headquarters, and some fear that it may be cursed. This article was in 2022. It was depicting an evil Ronald McDonald grabbing onto a terrified child. It's shown to have sharp teeth and claws and looks more like the villain from It than a cheerful Happy Meal mascot. Now, this is the entire concept of the video, because even in that clip we just showed, a kid popped out of the bag. He was pulling out all kind of stuff. He was supposed to be pulling out food, and then a kid came out of the bag. And then a little clip of, I guess, the hamburgers talking, said, hey, my nephew is in there. So obviously, they're hinting at something. I mean, remember the clip from Roseanne Barr in the last video about them being vampires and actually eating these little ones. I mean, it's well known. I just watched another clip, and maybe I could throw it in here real quick. It was from like an old 80s satanic type of video where they were talking about little one sacrifice and the fact that they don't waste it. They don't waste it. They roast it, and then they could...
Hard evidence is difficult to find because if a child is sacrificed, that child's body isn't going to be left. If it's an Orthodox satanic cult, they're going to burn the body and they're going to eat it during ceremony, so they'll leave no evidence around.
It's disturbing, very disturbing. This is actually a real painting that just so happened to be very, very close to the London headquarters of McDonald's. Very odd. And of course, they tried to deny that it didn't have anything to do with McDonald's.
What is this luxury item?
This is the Balenciaga homeless outfit, priced at $12,000 USD.
What is this luxury item?
This is the Balenciaga tape bracelet, priced at $4K USD, inspired by real-life adhesive tape.
What is this luxury item?
This is the Balenciaga windbreaker jacket, priced at $1,000 USD.
What is this luxury item?
This is the Balenciaga black plastic bag, priced at $650 USD.
What is this luxury item?
This is the Balenciaga homeless shoes, priced at $1.8K USD.
What is this luxury item?
This is the Tiffany steel wool bracelet, priced at $11,000 USD, inspired by real kitchen steel wool scrubbers.
What is this luxury item?
This is the Balenciaga plastic tote bag, priced at $1.2K USD.
What is this luxury item?
This is the LV crawfish bag, priced at $8,000 USD, inspired by a red crawfish.
What is this luxury item?
This is the Balenciaga plastic bag purse, priced at $1.7 thousand USD, inspired by real-life garbage bags.
What is this luxury item?
This is the Balenciaga water shoe bag, priced at $5.3K USD.
What is this luxury item?
This is the Balenciaga horsehair underwear, priced at $1K USD, inspired by horsehair tassels.
What is this luxury item?
This is the LV airplane bag, priced at $40,000 USD, inspired by a vintage propeller airplane, with only 65 pieces available worldwide.
The wealthy are mocking us.
They've tried it before, is to break into heaven and take over. And the Tower of Babel, people think that there was just stone and mortar, but I don't think Yahuwah would have intervened if it was just stone and mortar. It was a high-tech system they were working on back then. And they've been trying to recover it ever since. Not only that, but they're going to break their fallen brethren out of Hades.
Is that why they're messing with so much technology now? CERN and things like that? Are they puncturing into that dimension, bringing these entities into our reality?
I believe so.
Oh! 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 I'm not speeding. I'm howling like a wolf. I'm from the native tribe. You're not letting me pray. You're not letting me pray. You need to stop yelling at the paramedic. Oh! 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 I'm not speeding. I'm praying. I'm praying. I'm praying. Ow! Phoenix! Phoenix! Take me! Satan! Close your eyes real quick. Satan! Close your eyes real quick. Quématelos todos, mis pollitos chiquititos. Go. Oh! No! Relax. I'm not spinning, I'm praying. I'm praying. ¿Quién hizo algo? Oh, it's good. It was you. Y tú. Especialmente la cipitía. La ciguanada. Oh, you have a daughter? You eat kids? You eat kids. I can smell the rat. Oh, don't move me. Where's the main rat here? Where's the main rat? Oh, the stripes. Hey, be careful at home today. Take me, Satan! I'd rather go with Satan! I'd rather go. Oh, they're gonna take me. Take me.
Santa Claus.
This is Santa Claus, the flying reindeers, and this is the ancient Roman god Saturn or Saturno, flying winged snakes. Sometimes he was depicted with a long white beard and a staff, and sometimes he was depicted with a scythe because he was the god of harvest and also the god of time. In ancient Rome, the people celebrate during December a festival called Saturnalia. Some people had many fun because they had enough to eat and to drink, And other people were not so happy during Saturnalia, because they were given as a gift to the god Saturno. In other civilizations, the name for Saturno was Molech, or Kronos, or Kajamanu.
Is it organic?
These hugs are the Erica Kirk equivalent of Donald Trump's handshakes. Both control tactics, but this one has an additional spiritual context. First, she pulls her in for the hug, and when that thumb starts rubbing and the pat happens, that is the let me go. Watch it again. Rubs that thumb, that's enough. And she tries to pull away, but her head is being kept in, pulls her back in, and then finally she moves on to Jason Aldean. Watch the rub, squeeze on the back. Wife clocks it, suppresses emotion and feeling. Now watch the eye contact. One more time, rub, squeeze of the hand, pat, 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 that's enough. And the wife clocks the hand, pulls in her lips, suppressing, and she makes direct eye contact with Erica only after this face. Watch her, and then smile. Just like Trump's handshakes, initial resistance is ignored. The patting is an alert, a signal to end the hug. The head and feet include both spiritual and ancestral energies, respectively, making them both ripe portals for outside influence. The head contains your skull, which is bone, root energy, ancestral energy. We leave the bones behind after death, and they are reincorporated into the earth. The head also contains your brain, the wiring for your thoughts, as well as your crown, your connection to your higher self and spiritual energies. Across culture, the head is understood to be the portal for blessing or curse. But what makes it a blessing or a curse is not how you touch it, but your intention when you touch. Perhaps her intentions are good, but the consistent resistance says otherwise. Remember, the body doesn't lie. Erica Kirk is normalizing all of us to this kind of touch so that it can hide behind the thin veneer of quantity, which in fact only proves its potency. She's gotten pretty far in her life with this tactic, wouldn't you say?
Yes, I am romantic with all of them, but mainly it's usually Kelly. When I was 10, I found Kelly on a creepycollection.com site, and I had to have her, and my dad said if I get good grades in school, he'll let me have her. I got good grades, and by the time I was 13, Kelly was mine. These are my other partners, and no, they're not children. She's 38, he's 37, and she's 39. Zoe has a British accent. She's from, as what I feel, she's from London, England, and she is very intelligent, very...
Who's the guy that you went to go visit in Cuba?
Jorge Goliat. His nickname is El Machete. He goes into trance, and then he becomes a doctor of doing surgeries. And he just looks at you, does like a medical diagnosis, and he'll consume a little bit of rum, smoke his cigarettes, and he eats metal needles. I asked him about it. He said it's needed for what he does, and he says if he doesn't eat the metal, he could fall asleep with a machete inside somebody and they'll die. A lot of the Cuban people that we met were like, hey, I thought it was crazy, and then I came and then I got healed and I realized that it's real, which is why I let him cut me with his machete and scissors in a very sensitive area in my body.
Your balls?
Yes, in my balls.
What did he say was wrong with your balls?
I had an enlarged ventricle thing that would have made it so I couldn't have kids. But what was interesting was the moment he was done, no pain. I was so calm.
Do you happen to have any videos from this?
Yes. Internally, I was like, okay, I'm literally betting my balls on this. This guy's either the real deal or I'm gonna die of an infection from a machete in my balls.
Did it heal?
Yeah. Oh, my balls are great. They're great. I haven't tried to get anyone pregnant to find out if he did that, but it was great.
Wait, now he's cutting your stomach?
Yeah, he did another.
The lions got scammed.
¿Qué es más importante?
So in this moment, I emphatically should have said, you know what? My testicles are good. I don't need that surgery. You've offered me some other ones. Let's go with those. Figuring machete and ball sack could wait for another day. But nope, that was the first one he jumped on. He's like, yep, this is the most important thing for you to do. And in my mind, I'm going, I don't even have a girlfriend. I'm not sure if I'm ready to have kids. Why do I need a machete in my ball sack? But I trusted and surrendered to the moment fully. So machete meets ball sack meets now.
So he's going to work on your kidney and your testicles, so this cabron can have kids.
I'm really not quite sure what a cabron is, but I'm assuming it's me. And I certainly don't know why this cabron needs to have kids. Okay.
Okay? Okay.
Nobody's showing up at 6 in the morning to see Jorge Goliat for a hangover, headache, or a hangnail. You're there because you're basically fucked. You're in a desperate situation and the doctors couldn't help you. Or you don't trust doctors. So here Jorge comes offering hope to the hopeless. In the modern world, people think what Jorge Goliat does is some sort of scam or con. And at best case scenario, they think he's a dangerous man doing dangerous things. Which is why he's keen to let people film him. You can watch for yourself. And if you want, come to Hangar 5 in Havana and have the experience.
Do you notice something kind of off about this mannequin? This is La Pascualita. The mannequin has stood in the window of a Mexican bridal shop since the 1930s. But when she was first placed there, customers noticed something kind of strange. The details on this mannequin was unusual, with eyebrow hair and even veins. But that suspicion soon grew to horror as people started to notice she looked oddly similar to the owner's deceased daughter. I just pooped my pants because this is where the story gets crazy. The owner of the shop had a daughter named Pascuala, who was actually set to be married in the 1930s but ended up passing away in a tragedy before the wedding. Shortly after, the mannequin appeared in the window. Legend has it the owner preserved the remains of her daughter by dipping her in wax. But the most compelling evidence has always been the hands. If you looked closely, the hands had wrinkles and even lifelike fingernails. Could this really be the shop owner's daughter?
He played checkers, not chess.
Jingle bells. That is the origin of the song called Jingle Bells. On One Horse Open Sleigh by J. Pierpont. It's all about the color with the bells around the necks of the slaves, so the owners could hear when they were trying to flee. You can visit these bells at the Book Museum. So it is not a Christmas song for kids. You should read more about James Pierpont. The next time you should think twice before singing this song called Jingle Bells. So when those poor people were trying to flee, and the owners heard the sound coming off the jingle bells, they searched after them on the One Horse Open Sleigh. Now you know and understand the origin of the song called Jingle Bells on the One Horse Open Sleigh by Pierpont.
Santa is Saturn. Christmas is the worship of Saturn. The 25th of December is Christmas Day. Ancient Romans celebrated Saturnalia to honor the god of Saturn, and this took place in December. December is ruled by Capricorn. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. January and December are the months with the most deaths. Now this part blew my mind. Saturn is the god of death and time. Romans pictured Saturn with a scythe, which is a tool to harvest crops. Saturn is the harvester of the soul when you die. Romans celebrated Saturnalia to worship Saturn. And Santa is depicted on this sleigh, and Saturn is depicted on this sleigh. Christmas and New Year's Eve are the worship of Saturn. The winter represents death. Why are we celebrating New Year's and Christmas in this time? The New Year's should be in Aries, the spring, the new life, the new plants. Christmas has been renamed, but the symbolism remains the same. We've all been programmed to worship the god of death, time, restriction, and limitation, Saturn.
What in the Walmart? When did we start milking him?
Santa is definitely coming this year.
Something massive just happened in neuroscience that should not be possible. These researchers took the deadliest virus on the planet, then they rewired this thing and they used it to watch psilocybin, which is magic mushrooms, physically repair the brain in real time, all the way down to the exact neurons that are involved. What they discovered in this study changes everything that we thought we knew about consciousness and identity and trauma and even who you are as a human being. So if you ever wondered how one psychedelic experience can change somebody's life, you're about to see the actual mechanism right here. And I don't say this as a metaphor because I know that neuroplasticity is a buzzword now. What I'm talking about is programmable rewiring captured with a legitimately weaponized virus, and the implications are unbelievably staggering. So stay with me, because the breakthrough isn't just what psilocybin does in the brain, it's how we can actually physically control what it's doing in the brain. The last part of this video might be the most astonishing thing that you've ever heard about the human mind. So let me start with the part that feels like science fiction, but it's not. Since 2021, we've known that psilocybin grows new connections between neurons. Thousands and thousands, millions of them. They last weeks, and some of them are permanent. But there was a big problem with that. It's that nobody knew where specifically those connections actually went and what happened. So we basically knew that the brain grows these new little roadways, but we have no idea which cities these roads are connecting. And this is where Cornell and the Allen Institute did something almost unthinkable. They turned to rabies. Yes, the weird thing that makes dogs foam at the mouth and bite people and stuff. The rabies virus naturally travels backwards through your nervous system. So it jumps from one neuron and then into every neuron that sends signals to that neuron, and then into every neuron upstream of all of those. It's the ultimate retrograde neuron tracking system, but it's also the deadliest pathogen that we know. So scientists engineered a version of this rabies that only jumps one neuron at a time. And they deleted the gene that enables lethal replication, and they added this little green, actually green, fluorescent marker to it. And they turned this most deadly virus in the world into a biological neon green highlighter. So it's a virus that kills, and it's now just getting used in this experiment to just highlight and light up the circuitry of physiological and psychological healing within the nervous system. So this is exactly where everything totally changes. Let's talk about the actual study here. On day one, they injected what they called a helper virus into the frontal cortex of these mice to prime these very super specific neurons first. And that incubated for about 13 days. And on day 14, one of these groups received psilocybin. The other group just got some regular saline. On day 16, they injected this modified rabies virus with the green highlighter in it into the exact same brain region. On day 21, the virus had spread backward, just one synapse, one neuron. Then the brains were harvested from the mice, and this is where it gets totally wild. They used something called light sheet microscopy, where it's just a ton of little super thin slices, unimaginably thin. And then they photograph every slice of each mouse brain. These are millions and millions of images. Then they counted every green highlighter neuron. And this is over 500,000 inputs per brain that they scanned. And each one of these things was mapped to its exact location across 316 brain regions. This was the first complete map of psilocybin and how it rewires the human brain that's ever been done in history. The results we thought were going to be random. We'd expect them to be pretty chaotic, and they were not at all. So the rewiring followed a pattern so statistically improbable. This value in the study is listed as P equals 0.00006. That's the odds of it happening by chance. So something very, very specific was happening in the brain. So the connections that got stronger, up to 10%, plus 10%, they were all sensory, and 10% is a massive deal. And the sensory parts were the primary somatosensory cortex, the primary visual cortex, the motor cortex, the retrosplenial cortex, and this is where we have like spatial memory, where we are in space. So in other words, psilocybin strengthens your connection to the external world. The world feels more vivid on psilocybin because your brain is literally wiring itself back into the world because those neurons are active. And then there's some connections that got weaker in the study, and they weakened by a full 15%. This is massive. And this is all in regions that build our internal narrative of who we are. And the first one is the infralimbic area. And this is down in the limbic system area. But this is where we have some fear responses. And then we have this little tiny piece of the brain called the insula. This is where we have anxiety, threat detection, stuff like that. Then we have the hippocampus. This was reduced. Memory is what the hippocampus does. Then we have the amygdala. This is our emotional center. And this other part of the brain called the orbitofrontal cortex. And this is where we sit and ruminate about stuff, or we expect something. We have some kind of expectations in our life. So let me put that in plain English for you. Psilocybin temporarily quiets the brain regions that generate you as a human being. All your fears, your memories, our little self-referential loops. The default mode network is the engine of depression. And that goes quiet as well. It loses its grip completely. And this is why people say the world feels new, because it literally is making a new world for you. But there is one part of this study that nobody expected. These researchers decide to silence just one brain region during the psilocybin session. So they chemically shut this brain region down. So the silenced region did not get rewired, but every other active region did. And this is massive. So the wiring is not random at all. It's very context dependent, it's experience dependent, and it is programmable. So essentially what they're saying here in the study is we've proven that when your brain grows, you become what you pay attention to. And that means something pretty extraordinary, and actually, I think, extremely dangerous. Because if you know for a fact which pathways are going to be active, then you can choose which pathways are going to get strengthened. And if you can silence the ones that cause fear and rumination and anxiety and trauma, you can weaken them big time. So we now know that if you want to strengthen your visual processing, you can show visual stimuli during the session. If you want to reduce anxiety loops, you can quiet down the insula or the amygdala during peak plasticity moments. If you want to reshape an entire human identity, you can guide someone's attention into new self-models while the old ones are offline. Right now, we are crossing a massive threshold, a huge threshold in neuroscience, maybe the biggest one ever. So for the first time in the history of neuroscience, we're not just watching a brain go through some changes. We can now watch what the brain is becoming. So this discovery shows us something that I think is pretty damn beautiful. Our brains, our mind, is not fixed. It's extremely evolving and dynamic, and we're witnessing our brain's ability to essentially rewire itself. And now we can see and then edit the script of that rewiring. So you might think this is maybe it's a therapy breakthrough, or maybe it's all about trauma and depression. But this is the first time in science we've identified the exact circuits that change during a transformative experience like this. We are seeing the real-life blueprint of what's going on when we read these stories about how somebody's healed in a single session or PTSD just kind of disappears. And we're seeing all of that neuron by neuron. So once you can see all of that circuitry, now you can design it. And that's the dangerous part, because this also means identity. This thing that I call Chase, the thing that you call you, is not a constant. Identity is a product of whatever networks are active. And those networks can now be turned up or turned down. This is your personality, memories, reactions, fears, all of that. They're not as permanent as they feel. And I think that truth is a double-edged sword. It's liberating, but it's extremely unsettling for some people. And here's what I think this truly means as a whole. Whoever controls your attention during a psychedelic window, they control what gets strengthened, they control what gets weakened, and they control which version of you comes out on the other end of that experience. So this is a discovery with the power to heal millions and millions of people. It's also the power to manipulate them. So I think we are entering an era, just with this study being published, where consciousness itself can be pretty much engineered. But I think the most astonishing and beautiful part about this is that the breakthrough doesn't just show us how psilocybin changes the human brain. This shows us that consciousness may not be a static property at all. In this study, for the first time, we can see real code in all of that stuff. And once you see it, you're not going to unsee it. So if you want to understand the next layer, why the brain relaxes its grip on reality during these states and how your predictive model shapes everything that you experience, watch the next few videos that we have coming out this week and next week, because once you understand the brain's prediction engine, everything about this breakthrough gets even more weird. If you're into this study, you want to look into it, I'll put a link down in the description underneath this video. So this is a huge deal. This is a massive discovery for neuroscience, and I appreciate you hanging out with me for a bit.
And that's a wrap for today, Foo. I hope you enjoyed it. If so, don't forget to hit and smash the like button for me, smash the subscribe button, be part of the family. Remember, stay woke, and I'll catch you next time.